Hi everyone, thank you so much for attending the interview preparation webinar this evening. We hope this is really helpful in your journey to start teaching in the UK. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in the locations where you are today and acknowledge elders past and present. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Emma Roberts. Some of you have been working with me. I'd also like to introduce Catherine Gibson. Kath, give us a wave. Obviously, some of you would be working with Catherine. And then I'd like to introduce Rebecca Hardy. She is our UK compliance person and she'll be doing a piece in this presentation this evening. So we'll get started. We'll have question and answer at the end. So if you have any questions, you'll get the opportunity to ask those at the end of the presentation. We will be sending this webinar as a resource for you at the end, as well as some bits and pieces that we're going to be discussing this evening. So hopefully you'll be armed and ready and best prepared to teach in the UK after this session. Okay, Kath, over to you.
Right. So unbelievably, we are towards the end of March. So we are getting into that period where things are starting to happen, which is really exciting. March and April is generally the time that we are finalising your stage 1 and 2 compliance. So we've asked for your stage 1, which are the documents we need to present you to schools, and stage 2 are things like copies of qualifications, identification, registration forms, things like that. So we should be well and truly in conversation about that. You should be sending those documents through, and we have absolutely done your profile, and our teams over in England know about you. So very early interviews starting to happen, more likely to be in that April, May and June period. So coming up in April, May and June, you will start to hear about opportunities. We'll be sending those through. You'll be deciding whether you want to interview, and we'll be preparing you for that. During the sort of April holidays is a good time to apply for your Youth Mobility Scheme visa if that's what you're going under, because that will allow you to book your biometric appointment during the school holidays, because they are only open inconveniently between 9 and 3, I think, on a Monday to Friday. So consider doing that in the April holidays. And then by June, July, some of you are already heading over to have your summer in Europe, and for others, you'll be heading over later in August. So the stage 3 compliance will start to happen within 3 months of when you plan to depart your home country and head towards the UK. We will let you know, and you will be assigned a UK compliance officer nearer the time who will help you with those final documents. They'll be checking and they'll be letting you know what is still needed and how we can make sure that you're fully compliant to teach when you arrive. When you arrive, you'll have a meeting with your UK consultant. They will check and cite your documents. You'll have a mini induction, and then you'll be starting your position at the beginning of September. So it's all coming up really soon.
Amazing. Thanks, Kath. And I just want to reiterate with regards to job opportunities, there's no sort of tried and tested time where the majority of interviews will happen. It's really based on the school and who's resigning and when they know about positions. So if you haven't had an interview by early June, don't panic. Please trust the process. We will find you an opportunity. So just bear with us and don't panic, is what I would say. So we're just going to go over the visa application, and Catherine did touch on that. This visa application I'm going to talk about is the Youth Mobility Scheme visa. If you fall into some other visa category, you can ignore this information. That's if you've got a British passport or some other right to work in the UK. But the majority of you will be applying for the Youth Mobility visa. So if you haven't already started the process, as Catherine said, it's a good idea to try and get a physical biometric appointment in the next school holidays. So that would mean that you would be applying fairly soon to get that biometric appointment in the holidays, so you don't have to take time off work to go and have that biometric. So the process is you apply online for the visa, and then you have to pay the associated fees, and that's a visa application fee and the 2 years of immigration health surcharge, which most of you have been told about and are aware of by now. So once you've booked your biometric appointment, you need to take the following documents: a passport and a bank statement showing you've got a bank statement that covers the previous 28 days, showing you've got a bank balance equivalent of £2,530, which is, I think, at the moment about 5,200 Australian dollars. Once you've provided the supporting documents, you've paid your fees and everything, and you've had your biometrics, you'll receive an approval email, and your passport will be returned, and your letter of approval will have a code on it and a barcode, and you'll be asked to set up a UK Visa and Immigration online account. When you enter the UK for the first time, your e-visa will appear in that UK Visa and Immigration account. You'll need to then generate a share code, which we use to prove your right to work in the UK. That will need to be handed to our compliance department. There are other share codes you can generate for things like renting and tenants act that they need the share code for to prove that you're actually valid and can live in the UK. And you'll use your passport and your letter, your visa letter, to enter the UK initially. So that's the process. In terms of the third year, you can apply for a third year in country. So 2 months prior to your 2 years expiring, you can apply for a third year in country. But of course, you have to pay another 1 year of immigration health surcharge and the visa application fee. But I guess you can decide that as you go along. Most of you are probably well versed and probably into the visa application process by now. If you have any questions, please reach out to Catherine or myself. We can guide you through the process further if you need any help. So just want to explain the long-term job process. So we'll be aiming to find you a long-term job. The way that it will work is you'll receive a phone call and an email from us regarding any job opportunity. We will talk to you over the phone about where the school is in relation to your preferences. We'll give you access to the school website. We'll talk about the vacancy, what the specific subject or year level is for primary, and as much information as we can about the school and the vacancy so that you're best prepared. We'll also give you the link to the Ofsted report so you can read everything about how the school has been assessed against the national standards. When we call you to let you know about a vacancy, we're not just calling you for any reason. So if you get a call from us during this period, please respond, because it's likely that we're calling you for a job opportunity. So be aware of that and try and come back to us as soon as you can. And let us know your availability for interviews. So obviously for us Australian teachers, it's going to be, and New Zealand teachers, it's probably going to be from 8 a.m. UK time to 11 a.m. UK time, which in New South Wales is 7 p.m. onwards. And obviously you can work out your time zones in different states, but we'll let you know the time zone changes. For our Canadian teachers who can't be here this evening, they generally will be interviewed early in the morning as well. So you'll be provided with interview preparation, and that's notes and a video that clearly outlines how we do interview preparation. We will be including that in touching on that in the presentation this evening as well. So we'll arrange an online interview with the school. You'll be talking to the school through Microsoft Teams. You'll be given the link in advance. You'll be given the equivalent time changes. You'll be told who you're going to be interviewing with, whether it's a principal or a deputy, all that sort of thing. And then once you've had the interview, it's highly likely that the school will move to making an offer either on the spot or the very next day, because obviously they're keen on moving the process forward. They've come to us to hire. So be prepared that if you have an interview, you'll need to make a decision fairly quickly, because they'll want to move on to someone else if you're not going to accept. So we will give you a call post-interview to have a chat, get some feedback, see how you feel about it. And then if you're interested in pursuing the opportunity, we'll confirm that you've accepted, and we'll send out a contract which includes start, end date and pay rate and everything. So that will all be tied up, and then you can make your plans to head to the UK and start your teaching job. So that's your long-term job process.
And for some people, usually people who are arriving sort of later than the start of the school year or odd times during the year or only for a short period of time, they're looking just for supply. substitute casual teaching rather than a contract in one school. If that's you for whatever reason, then we would be talking to you and probably already had conversations about the different branch locations that we have right across England, what might be the best fit for you and what kind of availability of work there is. Just being aware that if you're starting as a supply teacher, the first and last term of the school year, months of the school year are going to be quieter. There will be periods during the year that are quieter as well. So yeah, we will arrange for you to have a conversation with someone from that branch, and they will be able to give you information about the schools in their area, transport, how you get around, where to live, you know, when you potentially want to start, and maybe whether you have longer term plans. So we will give you all that information. And for some people, there might be the ability to have a guaranteed supply contract for 3 days a week where we can guarantee you work at certain times during the school year. And if we can't find you work, we would pay you anyway. We are known as Just Teachers up in the north of England, so you'd be asked to do a little bit more compliance if you were going to work in those northern branches like Manchester or Leeds. Emma mentioned interview preparation, and we do have something that is much more comprehensive, but just to give you a little bit of an overview today, Ofsted is the Office for Standards in Education and Children's Services and Skills, and as a body, they're a government body that go into schools and periodically do an inspection over a few days with very short notice, and what comes out of that is a large document of how that school is working as an institution, how the staff are, how the students feel, what the strengths and weaknesses are, and they are given a grade. So anytime you get an interview opportunity, we will send you the most recent Ofsted report, which, bear in mind, is just a snapshot of how the school was working during those days, but is still informative and will give you a lot of information. We will provide you with information about the British National Curriculum in relation to the subjects or the key stages that you're teaching. So information about that, being aware of what the expectations are, will be really important when you're going into interview. As Emma mentioned, when an opportunity comes through, you will get a comprehensive email. It's going to have things like the school's website, links to important things on that website, like their safeguarding policy, their values, anything that's going to be helpful for you to bring up in an interview. You'll get an idea of where the school is. There'll be maps, and, you know, read up on things like the school policies, because they're going to be important things to that school, and to show that you've made an effort is really important. So there is an interview preparation document, which Emma mentioned before, we'll be sharing with you, so you can read through that, and there'll be links on there that will be helpful and relate to what I'm about to say. But I guess giving a few tips about when you're having an interview in the UK, you'll be doing that via a video link. You won't be able to meet them and shake their hand in person. So it's really important to show your best self, show your enthusiasm. That's what they want to hear, that you're enthusiastic, that you absolutely care about young people, about how they achieve, and, you know, and that you're focused on getting the best results out of those students. So first and foremost, love of young people, love of teaching, and a deep commitment to heading over to the UK. They don't want to hear that you're looking forward to having, you know, summer in Croatia and and all the fun things that you will be doing. They want to hear about your teaching passion, and the fact that you're really excited to jump into the national curriculum and get involved and learn. So that's really important. They're going to want to get a sense of who you are in the classroom. So it's all about painting visual pictures. So what we mean by that is giving examples, letting them imagine who you are in the classroom, what your intent is, how you come across, and what your why is in the classroom, why you're doing what you're doing, and what the outcomes are from that. So think about examples of what you can talk about that you've achieved, maybe something that you had to turn around that initially wasn't working, or something that's a really fantastic result that you're proud of. I guess, Inclusiveness is always going to be important. So just remembering that idea of being in an inclusive environment, catering for all of the students. There will be students with additional needs in every classroom. So just being aware of that and teaching in that way. Differentiation is now called adaptive teaching over in England. So it's about the idea of changing the language to adaptation, whether that's in the moment or long term, but understanding that you do need to be an adaptive teacher and that you need to be aware of maybe needing to change to suit students at the time in the moment. So when you hear adaptive teaching, they are talking about differentiation, how you make sure that every student is catered for. Yeah, and behaviour management is always going to be important. How you build rapport, how you build relationships, and how that creates a positive environment, and how you're prepared to run with the school process if things aren't going well and you need support, reaching out for that. But yeah, clear and consistent and strong relationships are what they want to hear about. And then there is language within Ofsted that are phrases and terms that they love to hear. So some of those might be the idea that I mentioned before, intent. What's your intention in a lesson? How are you implementing that? And what's the impact that you're having? So showing outcomes, showing how those students are achieving those goals. The pupil voice is a really important term over in the UK. So just being aware that the students have a voice, that their voice is being heard, and that they're being catered for. You will be asked about safeguarding as well. So make sure that if you haven't already done the safeguarding training, that is something that you prioritise. They will want to know that you understand about mandatory reporting and who to go to and all that sort of thing. So yeah, they're looking for high quality teachers, high quality education. They are ambitious. In the most part, schools will want to hear that you're ambitious as well. So we will prepare you. We will send you lots of information. Feel free to ask anything before the interview, and yeah, you'll be surprised. They'll be impressed. They love overseas teachers. So I think you'll find that you do a really good job.
Thank you, Cass. Okay, Rebecca, over to you.
Hi. So, as Emma said, Emma and Kath said, that you will be introduced to your compliance officers 3 months prior to you arriving in the UK. The reason for that is there is a lot of things that we need to do 3 months prior, which would include your police check, get your DBS in process, give the compliance team some time to look at references and your full file. We've got 5 fully trained compliance officers in our Sheffield head office. They deal with around, at the minute, they're working on about 300 candidates' files a day. They understand compliance so well, so they are here to support you. So what will happen is once you're introduced, the team here will check over what we've already got and just communicate with you daily what we still need, any advice, anything at all we're struggling with, we'll chat with you. Obviously, with the time difference, it will be email mainly, but the team are in at 7 o'clock UK time. So if you are struggling, if you've sat down, you're panicking about anything, pick the phone up. The team will pick up and they'll be able to help you. We know it's a big change. The compliance in the UK is very strict. We have to follow our guidance, which is keeping children safe in education, which I would recommend having a look. I'm not expecting you to read the whole document, but schools will ask about keeping children safe in education. It's all about safeguarding. It's all about pre-employment checks. So it is a document that schools will most likely want you to have some kind of recognition about. So that is a good way to have a look at what the team here in compliance actually have to adhere to. We've seen every scenario, we've seen every case. So, you know, we will work with you on getting the correct references. If we're struggling, we'll think of other routes, we'll help with share codes. everything, it seems to come at once in stage 3, but the team are here if you need anything at all to help you. And they'll try and kind of break it down, because we appreciate it's a lot. You know, you're moving from Australia to England, so the team here are kind of your communication as well as your branch, to give you a bit of a check-in and to make sure that everything's going smoothly. I will be also at the September induction. So I'll be there, I'll meet and greet, I do a bit about safeguarding, try and calm you down, and just make sure that you are ready for a good September start.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Rebecca.
No worries. I am going to jump off, Emma,
It's fine.
because I've just started. Enjoy and let
Thank
me know
you.
if you need anything.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Beth.
Thanks, guys. Bye. Bye.
Okay, so Rebecca did reference our induction event. So with all of our teachers, you'll be invited when you initially arrive to our induction event, and that includes information about what to expect in a UK classroom when you first arrive. We'll do a little bit on classroom management, and a little bit on adaptive teaching. We invite our teacher training business Equalitas to run that session, because they're experts in UK curriculum and what's expected. So you'll get some information about that to hopefully make you feel at ease when you go into a UK classroom. You'll also get to meet each other, which is always nice. We'll have some food and drinks and things as well. So that will be coming up, and you'll receive a date for that down the line, a little bit closer to when you're arriving. It'll obviously be before you start your job. So the other thing is that we have regular social events. So once a term, we have social catch-ups, and you'll be invited to come along to those. You can be involved or not involved if you want to be in all of that. It's up to you. If you're up in Manchester or you're down in one of the regional branches, there might be sort of small catch-ups there, based on your availability and what the branch want to do. But those people that are in and around London and home counties will be certainly able to make our main social events. So we want you to feel connected and part of the community. We'll also do pre-introductions. So it's not uncommon that you may be placed in the same school as another overseas teacher. So with everyone's permission, we will introduce you prior to arrival so that you can connect if you want to. And also you'll get to meet people at those social events as well. People that are working in the same, not necessarily the same school, but same area, will also do that introduction service, so you can meet colleagues as well.
Yeah, and I think beyond your teaching opportunities, there's lots of other incidental but just as important things that you are concerned about and wondering how we can help. We can certainly provide lots of support in regards to setting up an initial bank account. We generally see people going towards these online banks that don't require you to have a UK address to sort of get the process underway. So most of you would be aware of banks like Wise. When you go and travel overseas, you can preload money and it can change exchange rates, and it's a fairly effective way of starting your time overseas. You can also pay you into those accounts. Some people transition to sort of high street banks once they've arrived, depending on what your needs are and what you're looking for. But we'll send you information on that. Accommodation is by far the thing that is most concerning to people, and it is one of those things that you can't really address until you arrive. Based on, as Emma mentioned, the share code, you don't even have the right to apply for, accommodation in a rental landlord situation through agents until you've arrived, because you are not showing that you have the right to live and work in the UK. So the most important thing is to know where you're going to be working, discussed with us the areas that are going to be good to look at living in, and then when you hit the ground, getting an Airbnb or something short term so that you can base yourself there and then start to go and look at those accommodation options. So we'll send you links, information about where you can start to look for accommodation. Sometimes the school might know of someone who has accommodation in a share house or they have a room to rent. Sometimes there are opportunities that are someone's heading home, one of the teachers that we know, and they're looking for somebody. So we will also, like Emma said, pair you up and connect you with people who are going to be in the same area before you arrive. We'll know that nearer the time, but there are lots of potential avenues for you to find someone to live with and somewhere to live. Transport will depend on where you end up basing yourself, but we will be able to offer support about how to get around, whether it's the tube lines, whether it's National Rail, buses, riding to work on a bike. We'll be able to give you an idea of how long your commute will be and how to best get there. Help and advice on getting your national insurance number, which is like a tax file or social security number. And of course, we will make sure that you have a UK DBS, which is your UK police check, which allows you to have access to be a teacher over in the UK. So yeah, any questions? There's no silly ones. We've heard them all, and more than happy to help you with anything incidental that's coming up.
Great.
And the flight redemption. So if you are successful in securing a contract of 2 terms or more, there is an opportunity for you then to take a flight redemption payment, which means that you just get help towards heading over to the UK. You'll have already booked your flight, but it will go back into the kitty of all the things that you're going to need to get started over there. So once you secure a position and we've got that contract signed and you're fully compliant, we can help with sending you out a contract for a flight redemption. And when you send all the supporting documents that we need from that, like your itinerary receipt and your visas cleared and you've signed the contract, then we can make that payment to you.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go to questions now. So if anyone's got any questions, feel free to start typing. So Rosalie says, sorry, I missed the start of the session. Is the induction event in person in the UK? If so, where is it held? We generally hold it at a location in London. If you can't make it in person, then we can obviously offer you an online session. Does anyone else have any questions they'd like to ask?
I guess the main point is whilst it feels like time's getting away, it's very, very early in the recruitment season for September. Schools will only really fully know their needs at the end of May. Sometimes they have early access to what teachers are doing, but they don't need to hand their resignation in until the end of May. So everything will start to kick off just as you're starting to really panic. So don't worry. Emmy and I have been doing this for many, many years, and it's the same every year. So just starting to see 1 or 2 placements now, and it will start to speed up and be in full swing over the next few months. So if you're feeling concerned, if you've got any questions, that's what we're here for. So yeah, don't be shy. And just remembering, like Emma said, the communication is really important. So when these jobs are coming through, the schools want to move really quickly. We will send you an email with information. We'll try and call you. We'll send you a text. And if you can get back to us quickly, then we can set up interviews for you in that week. And a lot of the time schools make decisions quite quickly. So it can all happen quite quickly when it does kick off.
Ella's just asked, what date do you recommend arriving in the UK? Well, the school year kicks off first week in September, and the induction will probably be a couple of days before you start your school journey. So we would recommend probably arriving 2 weeks before so that you can settle in, get to, know where you're going, etc. Look potentially at some accommodation options, those types of things. But yeah, we'd recommend probably 2 weeks prior.
Yeah, and look, you can make it work if you can't get there until the week before. But like Emma said, it's nice and comfortable. If you can get over your jet lag, you can find your feet and have a good look around. A lot of people are arriving earlier than that and then going off traveling, or not even heading to the UK, going straight to Europe or Asia or wherever you're going on your way. So yeah, everybody's got a different story. Make sure that you let us know when you have booked your flight, so we've got those details. It's really helpful in terms of compliance and knowing when you need to do what.
Great. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, we'll end the session, but we will follow up with a copy of this recording. We will also send you some links regarding accommodation, bank accounts, mobile phones, that sort of thing, how to apply for your national insurance number. So all of that supporting information that we've spoken about this evening, we will send through to you fairly soon with the recording. So thank you everybody for attending. We know it's your time's valuable, but hopefully you found the session helpful. And as Kath said, please reach out if you need anything from us.
Yeah.
Okay.